Hello and welcome to the Knitworthy podcast. Welcome! Hello to all of our friends. If you are a new viewer, we want to say thank you for finding us. And if you are a returning viewer, we're so glad that you came back. Thank you so much. Mama Linda.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome back to me, right?
That's right. Welcome back. This is take 2. We recorded a whole entire podcast and Mom texted me saying what?
The sound was so horrible, we couldn't rescue it.
No.
I'm pretty sure that what happened was my microphone, that's why it's pinned so awkwardly right now. I think it was on the edge of my shirt and rubbing against it the whole time. And so
You dared to move?
I moved.
Oh, no.
So, you know, it's not like these are set up for left and right sides. And so I have to turn it kind of wonky and yeah. So we spared your ears and decided to do it again.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. This could be longer or it could be more concise. Who knows?
Right. You may not hear the same podcast that you would have had we posted these staticky ones. So we'll see.
I don't even think we can use the same name. We'll have to come up with a whole new name because the ones that we had probably won't even apply. You'd be like, what?
What was that? How did that apply?
Why did you name it Moo when you didn't even talk about cows?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Right.
Yeah. So, should we do a really quick 1-minute grandma health update?
Yes. Mom is doing fine, relatively speaking. She is on hospice, and we are taking good care of her. Someone's with her all the time, and we take turns. So Brianne's there part of the time, and I'm there part of the time, and it's hard and it's wonderful, and it's all the feelings. But she's hanging in there.
Yes.
So that's our update.
There you go.
Enjoy.
Yes. Thank you so much for keeping us in your thoughts and prayers. It really means a lot to us
Thanks.
and to our family.
But you know what? I heard one podcaster, actually she's a youth streamer, and she said that her stream that she does is a drama-free zone.
Oh.
Well, it would be wonderful if ours was drama-free. We have drama
that.
all over the place. But I thought, you know what? That's kind of what knitting podcasts are, don't you think?
Yeah.
They're like a little bit of an escape from real life. So we're putting aside
Everything.
We're going to choose to put aside whatever is on our minds today. Why don't you do it too?
Absolutely.
You got stuff.
Join us.
Put your stuff aside, and for the next however long this podcast is, we are going
3 hours and 25 minutes.
We're going to just talk about what we love. And don't we love knitting and spinning and crafting?
My word.
Right?
Yes.
It is a joy, isn't it?
Evan has become dad.
He has? What did he say?
He goes, so why do you knit so much?
Oh, no.
And I said, well, because I like it, and because, you know, it makes me feel happy, and because I get to make really amazing things. And he goes, that just looks boring to me. I can't believe that you like that.
Does he say that?
He does.
Oh, how funny.
And so I was like, hey, buddy, why do you like to play video games so much?
Yeah.
And he goes, because it's so much fun. I'm like, exactly. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Good one. Good one. Well, I am not wearing knitting today.
Yeah.
You want to know why?
Why?
I am fresh, and a little bit too fresh for you sitting close to me because I'm still sweaty. Hence the reason for the really red cheeks. But I had a doctor's appointment last week.
Yeah.
And it was not the good news I was hoping for. I was hoping magically that I would have lost weight and my cholesterol would be great. And it's not.
So
and she wants me going on 2 walks a day. I hardly survived the 1 walk.
Yeah.
This is the key to telling you how my walk did. Right here.
Oh my. A Band-Aid. Okay.
I don't know what they call them in England. Do you know? They have a different name, don't they? They call them plasters. Is that it?
Sure.
In America, we call them Band-Aids. And if you
That's
can
the brand
believe it,
name.
here's a fun game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make them play, but I'll make you play.
Okay.
Guess where on my body I need a Band-Aid after my walk. Think unusual places.
Okay. Well, I mean, I would think like your Achilles tendon because your shoe rubbed up. But you're saying unusual. Elbow?
Well, that is a good one. No, my big toe.
Okay, you'll have to explain that one.
I don't know. But I'm going to show you guys because it's too gross. Split open my big toe.
Oh.
So I'm going to put on my Band-Aid.
You poor thing.
Yes. So tomorrow, I think we rent a place that has the neighborhood has an exercise room.
Yeah.
And so after we podcast, you're going to tell me how I get into the exercise room.
Okay.
So that I can do that tomorrow.
Okay.
But you know what? These ankles were not built for carrying this frame. I'm an hour since I was exercising last, and it looks like I'm fresh, and I smell fresh. So after the podcast, I told her I'm not showering even. Let's just get it over with. And you're going to have to smell me the whole time, and then I'm going to go shower.
Okay.
Aren't you glad it's not smell-o-vision?
That's so funny.
So apparently magic thinking doesn't work on your health. You actually have to eat well and exercise. What?
That is so bizarre.
What kind of a crazy world is this?
You have a really interesting doctor, that's all I have to say. My doctor's like, you're fine.
Yeah, right? I want to go to your doctor.
Yeah, I'll get you a referral.
Okay.
Um,
I love what you're wearing.
Thank you. This is my Pure Joy, and we will talk about that in just a few minutes.
Yay.
But let's talk about what we're working on.
Let's.
Yes.
Can I just say,
please do.
Walking for half an hour, I was walking flat road, so
Yeah.
don't even think I was walking the Ozark Mountains. I went down to the landing because I know it's flat down there.
Right.
And next time, poor Isaac, he was walking with me, and I thought it was wise to have a buddy, since in case I passed out or something, there'd be someone to carry me to safety.
Yeah.
And by the time we were getting back to our car, I walked 15 minutes out, 15 minutes back.
Right.
He goes, next time, Mom, we'll park closer.
He's very considerate.
He is very considerate.
That was so sweet of him to think of you.
So knitting wise, because I know you're here for knitting.
That's right.
This is my favorite sweater bag. What does she call them?
Sweater bag.
Sweater bag?
Yeah.
From the Rusted Stitch.
I think.
Our beloved Stephanie.
Our beloved. So she is forevermore our beloved Stephanie.
Our beloved. We have our Kathy, and then we have our beloved Stephanie.
That's right. Don't think that we love Stephanie more than we love Kathy. It's just different.
You know we love all of you.
Absolutely.
You are all ours.
That's right. We claim you.
I'm using my bag that I got from her, and it's got my mitered square project. And mitered squares are going to tie in later. This is like a great segue for later.
Yeah, everything is later.
Everything's later.
Yes.
In fact, we're not even to talk right now.
Yeah. Moment of silence.
Did want to mention that she also makes these needle holders, she being Stephanie. And what I'm loving is I'm having trouble with the cable on the needles I was using. I was using collage square needles. They are red because I got them from Jimmy Bean's Wool. And they were a part of their red project, which was on heart disease, focusing on women and heart disease. And I love them. But I think I've just done too much of bending near where the needle attaches.
Sure.
And so I'm giving those a break, and I'm using DPNs. And of course, these, her needle holders, the DPNs fit in perfectly. I can keep the extra needle in there. So I actually have 2 needles to knit with when it's time.
Oh, that's perfect.
Right? It's so handy.
Yeah.
And
it matches your bag, and how perfect is that?
It sure does.
Yes.
Can you hold that side for me?
I'd be happy to.
This is just a quick review because I can't even point to, I'm not even as organized as Dawn. She's always telling you which one she did and what yarn it was. It's Brianne's yarn. And actually this one was a giftie, I think, from one of our first gifts that we got. I have 2 skeins of it. And so this one that has the orange in it is creating the diagonal. I'm going to continue that because I think I have enough to do the whole thing. And what I do with my balls of yarn are bigger, and I'm going to put 1 on each side. Mine's in the gutter. And so what I do is I just pick a random place to the left and the right of the center. And that's my plan. And my thought was I might get a more balanced looking blanket because there's some repetition of color. Where it's most obvious is, of course, is in the cream color.
Yes.
And I think I'm going to have to manage to get some cream color yarn. I'll spin some up probably. And make sure I have a couple other spots of the cream yarn, or else I thought this is really going to be glaring in your face. So I'll salt it with a few of the plain cream squares just to help it carry through. But I'm liking that method of doing it, and I don't really care.
If it was black yarn, would you be peppering it?
Yes, I would.
Oh, I crack myself up.
You are so hilarious. Anyway, you know, I am just totally satisfied doing this project. I do have socks on the needles, and they have, I worked a teensy bit on them. I can't tell you what yarn it is. It's lovely. But I really have been doing more so on my mitered square.
Yeah.
And I think it goes back to, it's a simple thing to do when you're at mom's.
Yeah.
Or when you're getting interruptions, things like that. You have to think about it.
Oh, I love knitting like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And fun to handle that many different yarns. You know, you don't,
Yeah.
it's like short attention span project.
Well, and you don't ever get bored of the color or the yarn or anything.
Yeah.
You're just like, time for a new thing.
Exactly. Why don't I have you go on, and I'll go on with some of my other, because of course I have a million things I've worked on. I'll try not to talk about all of them.
Okay.
Okay, so you go ahead, and let's see what Brianne's been working on.
Yay! So things that I've been working on, I'll start with my spinning because it is gorgeous.
It is.
This is from Walnut Farm Designs on Etsy. And this is a 4-ounce top of superwash merino and nylon in 85-15 blend. And this is the rhubarb colorway. I am spinning this hopefully for socks. I'm going to 2-ply it. That is the plan for right now. And it is really gorgeous. The way that it's showing up on the camera is really, it's kind of more bright than what it actually is. The colors are just a little bit more muted. I love your elbow, your poor elbow. Your poor elbow where you fell and scraped it. I'm just kidding. You need a Band-Aid for everything now.
I do. And also, my armpits are more available to you this way.
I appreciate that.
She's trying to keep a straight face. She's like...
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it is beautiful and so soft.
Yes, it is so soft. So she has another, she has several more braids of yarn in her store, and it came very fast. I was very pleased. I'm trying to look and see where she's at. Let me see if it shows on here.
And you've got some on the bobbin, correct?
I do. This is the other 2 ounces.
Okay, so this is half of it.
Yeah, I don't see where she is. Anyways, it doesn't matter. It came very quickly, though. I was very pleased.
And the links will be in our show notes.
Absolutely.
Which you can find at knitworthypodcast.com.
Yes. Oh, that was wonderful.
Right?
Good job. She has more fiber in her store.
Okay.
And there's another one, the peony colorway, which I think is gorgeous, that I also am hoping to pick up soon. But we shall see. Hopefully it's still there. If so one of you take it, I hope you really enjoy it.
Yes, if you do,
Yes.
let us know how it spins up.
Yeah, and you know what? If ever you purchase something because you've heard about it on our show, would you let the person know that we've talked about it, about them?
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
So in any case, yes, I am really enjoying this. It is such a soft, like buttery, beautiful spin. And I'm really taking my time just because I'm enjoying it so much. So I'm really only spinning on it like about 30 minutes a day, just getting a little bit here and there. And, you know, it's a pleasure. And I'm not in any rush to get it done. So
Good.
there's that.
Enjoy.
Yes. And I have my Hopeful Heather socks. Here we have the first sock. Ta-da! And that is finished. I had about halfway down the foot last time, and as you can see, it is completed. And now I also cast on the second sock, and it's actually grown a little bit from when you saw it.
Oh, good.
We took the kids. We took the kids to go see a movie on Saturday to see The Secret Life of Pets, which they loved, and Brian and I cracked up through it.
Was it good?
It was adorable.
Oh,
it was so super cute.
I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Okay.
And so I needed, of course, some plain knitting to take with me. I didn't think a sweater was very appropriate to take into a movie theater, so I got this moved past the ribbing and knitted from here down to here while we were in the movie. And this is from Stray Cat Socks, who is from New Zealand, and this is the Hopeful Heather colorway, and I'm knitting this for my sister Heather for Christmas. And every time I knit on it, I think happy thoughts and pray prayers for them.
Yes.
And I thought it was very appropriate that I laughed all the way through about 2 inches
That's
of sock
neat.
on this one. And you know, I think everybody needs something that has good thoughts in it for them. So
Yes.
yeah.
So that the person that receives it knows that there is a lot of love along with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Not only is it cushy and fabulous, but it also hopefully will fill them with love as well. So there's that. And before I forget about it, I have my gnarled oak cardigan that I just started. From the last podcast, if you remember, I had the Margot pullover, which was a raglan style pullover that you knit
Right.
from the top down.
Uh-huh.
And even though you did not watch the podcast,
You're going to out me on this one.
I'm totally outing you.
She asked me on the last one, I go,
Even though you had not had a chance, and I'm totally okay with it.
I will make up for it. I'll watch it twice
Oh,
next time.
fantastic! Yes, I really should have done the garter neckline in a smaller needle size, just because it was kind of flaring and standing up, and like it was like a peacock right in front of my chin.
You didn't want a peacock under your
I didn't
chin?
really want a peacock right in front of my chin. No. Mm-mm. And so I decided to cast on a different sweater. So I'm doing the gnarled oak cardigan.
And it's so gorgeous. So gorgeous.
which looks like this. It's by Alana
Yeah.
Dacos of Never Not Knitting, from the Coastal Knits book that she did with Hannah Fettig. And it is gorgeous. And I'm using the same yarn, which is Knit Picks. Oh, I'm in the middle of a row too. That's lovely. Knit Picks Swish DK in the Garnet Heather colorway. And it took a little bit of knitting math to figure this one out. So my husband helped me by
That's a lovely burgundy,
It
cranberry. What would you call that?
I think it's kind of cranberry color.
It's very pretty.
I needed a size 54 because even though I'm shrinking, I'm not quite shrunk enough to, be a smaller size. And so to get the gauge right and everything was not going to work. So we are working with gauge that I like the fabric of the yarn,
Okay.
the fabric of everything. And so with that, I get to knit the 46 3/4 size.
Well, there's motivation right there.
Right? Yes. So that made me happy.
Yeah, it looks lovely.
Thank you
did
so
a nice
much.
job.
It's a very soft yarn, but the only thing I know about this yarn is it does have a tendency to pill.
It does pill.
Yes. So that's why I'm knitting it a little bit tighter.
Super cozy though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I love the fact that, I don't have to worry about it felting on me because
Right.
that's always a concern.
Yes, you never know who's going to help you with laundry.
Yeah. I have stories about that.
Yeah.
I think we all do, don't we?
do.
Oh my goodness. Unless you are living on your own and nobody ever comes and handles your laundry. I think we all have stories. So this is going really well. I only have about, I have the ribbing done and maybe about 1.5 inches past that, but it'll get its attention soon. I was a little bit focused on a little something else over the last couple weeks.
And it's lovely.
The
It
last
is
thing,
lovely.
yeah, thank you. The last thing that I have on the needles is I have my Hermione's Everyday Handspun Socks. And these socks are from Hermione's Everyday Sock pattern, except I'm knitting them in handspun, so therefore I just added that in the name.
Whoa.
I know, right?
Right.
Yeah. So here we have the first sock. And last time I was just past the heel turn. The original sock was actually written cuff down, but I modified it to do it toe up just because I wanted to use as much of the handspun as possible.
Okay.
And so I'm using Wendy D. Johnson's toe up heel flap pattern, and I'll link to that in the show notes as well. And it is just so beautiful. I love the way that everything is turning out, and it makes me so happy. And here I am on the second sock. I have finished the toe, and I'm just a couple of repeats in on the pattern on the foot. So not too far in, but I'm happy with the progress that I'm making. And here is the yarn, which is spun up by Mom, who did not recognize the yarn.
Not at all.
No, but it's from Unwind Yarn Company in her Alpine colorway. And I looked on my Ravelry notes, and this is a BFL and nylon blend.
Okay, well that's great for socks then.
Yes. So that's what I have that I've been knitting on.
Yay, you.
Mom, why don't you
Yes.
tell us what you've been working on?
Okay. Well, first in the staying with the fiber genre of crafts.
Oh, yes.
I got a birthday present as a Etsy gift card from my sister, and I ended up, it's a craft that I've always wanted to try, and it is something that it is a weaving loom called an inkle loom.
Okay.
And so it is weaving in a very basic form. It's a very old way to weave. You think about in the days when they didn't have zippers,
Sure.
and I don't even think buttons so much.
Yeah.
They used bands.
Only the
to-
fancy people had buttons.
Maybe so, huh?
Yeah.
They used bands for holding up their long socks, sometimes to keep their trouser legs together. I've seen them used also in like celebratory costumes that people, they would use the bands to finish clothing. And I have been wanting to weave so much, and I've done the little loom weaving, which I enjoy, but it means piecing together a lot of little pieces to make something.
Yes.
I would like a bigger loom, but it's one of those things where it is expensive for me. I consider it expensive, and so I thought this might be a good way for me to see if I even enjoy weaving.
Of course.
And because the principle is the same as far as weaving on a rigid heddle loom and weaving this way, you're not using a rigid heddle. And a rigid heddle would be the long piece that has the slot hole, slot hole, slot hole. When you're looking at a rigid heddle loom, it's that piece, and you thread your yarns through it, and you use that piece of equipment to tamp down and to put your stitches closer together. So like most of us have done a basic weaving. If you have done like a pot holder loom or any of those kind where you're doing you're taking your warp threads are these long ones that run the length of your project. Okay, so on your pot holder loom, that would be the loops that you put and stretch over the frame to begin with.
Right.
Okay, and the weft is the ones that you are putting over under each loop on your pot holder. And so that's the principle of weaving in general, you have your warp threads and you have your weft threads. Your weft threads are weaving over under, but what makes this so easy, instead of picking each, going over and under each one, by hand, that would take forever, right?
Yeah.
And so you use heddles. Heddles hold on to every other thread. And so when I lift up, I'm going to try and do this one-handed. When you lift up, you create this little opening. So your heddles are holding half of your strings down, and your thumb is holding half the strings up. And you're going to run your little shuttle through there that is holding your warp yarn, your weft yarn, I mean. And then you run it through. I'll just do a really loose one here. You run it through, then you are going to change, and you're going to pull these same threads down. Now you see your heddles are up, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to run it through that triangle. But before you do, you're going to tamp it down with your shuttle, run it through. I have to undo all this, of course. And then you're going to go up where your heddles are in that downward position. You've created another triangle. You're going to go back the other way. And so and you're obviously going to tamp it down again. Each time you're moving your shuttle, you are tamping it down. Very basic. It's just up, down, up, down. It's like knitting, okay, is very simple, right? It's just moving your lead piece of thread through a loop. And it's like knitting and crocheting in my head are very similar crafts. It's all pulling a thread through a loop.
Right.
That's how I think of it. And so weaving is all the going over and under every other thread. It's just how you're doing that so different. Even the big floor looms are operating on that same principle. It's just they have all this fancy equipment to make it do patterns, and they're doing the same thing though. They're holding some threads, every other thread down, every other thread up. And it's more complicated than that when you get into patterning.
Sure.
But in general, if you want the in general thing of how weaving is, that is what this is doing.
Okay.
And you are weaving your way up here. And when you get close to your heddles, then you're going to loosen this little nut, and you're going to rotate your band around. And my band will continue growing as it's woven along here and up and around until the band gets to here. When it reaches my heddles, then I'm at the end of what I can weave, and I will cut it off the loom. So I'll end up with, you know, I don't know what you say, like 2 yards of, probably 2 yards of banding. I'm just learning.
Sure.
And so my band is very basic. I'm just doing this pattern here. And you can do all sorts of patterns with a basic inkle loom. And I am trying to learn how to, and I wanted to mention too, part of the artistry of it, like with knitting, it's how even your stitches are. For weaving, it's how even your picks are, your rows, and how even your edges are. I think they're called the fells, but don't test me on that.
There will be a test later.
You know, there's a little vocabulary that goes in on it. It's still the basic. There's no test.
Okay, I'm sorry. There is no test. You're right.
So this particular loom is from Windhaven Farms on Etsy. We'll post a link. I loved it because the woman or the young lady who makes this is on the spectrum.
On the autism spectrum.
On the autism spectrum. And so I loved being able to support their family. They've got their own little farm, and they use that farm to supply money for their family. And the daughter does woodworking. It's very smooth. If you feel it, she's done a nice job finishing it.
Yeah.
Yes. The only thing I have had a trouble with is I'm one that likes to work from the couch or on the bed, and it does have a base on it, a foot, I think she called it. And so if you angle it, you'll notice that it's going to sit on this. Like if I'm putting it, I'm going to get it out of your reach, but if I'm putting it on the thing in front of me here, my little ottoman I've got in front of me, it wants to fall because it's not sitting on its foot. It's just sitting here.
Right.
And the same thing happens to me in bed. So I ended up getting a drawing table that's a clipboard style. And I put that in front of me and I lay it on it, and it will stay that way. Otherwise you can put a TV tray in front of you or whatever.
Sure.
But just, you know, some of you, I know that you're like me, you like to do your crafts in odd places, so that's just a little tip.
Bathtub.
Right. So my reason for doing this was not only because I like to learn new things, but I want to make a guitar strap for Jared for Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
And so I wanted to, you know, learn on smaller. This is not my first try. I have done, I have probably warped this thing 5 or 6 times and done different things and learned things I did wrong and all that. So I will, when I feel confident, I will warp it up to the width and make, there is a kit you can get on Etsy that has the end parts for the guitar strap.
Oh.
And then I can just sew it onto that.
Brilliant.
And so, but the thing I thought that would be really interesting for knitters, if you have an interest in weaving, is I thought this would be a lovely way to finish a project that's been steeked.
Oh.
Also, I think it would be a nice way to finish the back of a button band.
Yes.
That kind of thing. So, if you're interested, there's tons of YouTube videos, and that's what I've been watching. You type in Inkle Loom, I-N-K-L-E is how you spell it. And there's tons of videos on how to do it. They're not always done on looms. Sometimes they're done on backstrap apparatuses that you put around your body.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's probably the most primitive way of doing it.
Right.
It's an excellent way to do it.
Yeah.
But it's the earliest way. I didn't mean primitive in a bad sense, but
No.
but it's one of the earliest examples. And women still weave today on backstrap looms, which means that they've got a little belt around the back of them, and they've got all of the warp threads going away from them, and they tie it to a tree or something like that.
Wow.
Or something in their home, and
Yeah.
then they lean back to give themselves the tension like I've got here, and then they're weaving in front of them while they're sitting on the ground.
Wow.
Right? You can
That's
also sit in a
impressive.
chair.
Yeah.
But there's tons of videos. It's so interesting. Even if you're not interested in doing it yourself, I really think that you'd find it fascinating to just watch how that type of backstrap weaving is done.
Yeah.
Same principle. It's just in this case I'm not wearing it,
Yeah.
though I could.
It's very attractive.
But anyway, I thought it was fascinating, and this runs about $60. That's still a lot of money to me, but to get into weaving like a rigid heddle loom, even a basic one that's like 12 inches wide, is like $150 or something like that.
I mean, that's significantly less to do it this way.
Right.
Especially if you're not sure that it's something that you're going to enjoy.
Yeah, and not every, as much surprising, not every craft is one that I feel like I'm going to do in the long haul.
I don't believe it.
Yeah. So anyway, I have loved it so far.
Good.
The warping is the thing I was wondering about, whether I'd like that, because it is a
Yeah.
bit tedious. You're dealing with yarns that are quite small. What would you call this, Brianne? This is less
Probably
than...
lace weight?
Yeah, because definitely not sock weight.
No.
Now you could, I've heard people do use sock weight yarn on this. I'm using a cotton linen blend because that was recommended to me.
That's lovely.
Okay.
Yay!
How was that?
That was good.
That was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right?
Informative and beautiful.
I am beautiful. There's a song like that, isn't it? Sing it.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I thought you said there weren't going to be any tests.
No pressure.
No.
All right. Now, of course, I have been drawing and painting and doing all sorts of things.
Of course.
So, the first thing I wanted to mention is I found two people that I'm really enjoying that I would recommend all of y'all to check out if you're interested in drawing, painting, coloring. I'm counting like this: drawing, painting, coloring.
Yeah. The three things.
Right. First of all is Dee Dee Wellingham, and she does a Ustream. And Ustream is basically, you get to watch people live do things, and you can type comments to other people. They can respond.
No pressure, right?
Right? I know. And she does this on a regular basis. She broadcasts on Monday mornings for sure, often on Friday mornings, and sometimes Wednesday mornings too.
Oh, wow.
She's a professional artist.
Yeah.
She does colored pencil portraits, but her streams, she very often will do coloring books, and she will do mixed media art projects. She'll talk about how she organizes her craft stuff. She's got those fun, she's got all sorts of, she was in scrapbooking world for a lot of years, so she's got every tool you can imagine.
Oh, I love those kinds of things.
Yeah, it's so fun. And so I highly recommend her. She's a great one you could knit along to.
Sure.
Because it's basically, you don't, unless you feel like you want to watch her do every stroke, it's just fun to listen to her banter, and she's so up. So I think you will really love her. Coloring books is what she recommends as a great way to start if you are wanting to work with color and find out if you have any thoughts about artistic kinds of things. And I thought, for knitters, think about it. We are putting together yarn.
Oh, sure.
Okay, and you're trying to figure out what goes together. Maybe you're doing color work, something like that. Having experience in a color book is excellent because you get a feel. You start getting a feel for what colors you enjoy seeing together.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that is one of the things she recommended. Now, it is very easy to get started in color books. First of all, they are available almost everywhere, right?
And there are a million kinds now, especially of the adult, grown-up coloring books.
And not nasty coloring books. She's not talking about that.
No. But we're talking like, G-rated.
Yeah, it's not like the olden days where it used to be, everything's about little kids' shapes and Disney princesses, though that would be fun too.
Yeah.
You can find a color book on basically any subject. And I would say that if you went on Pinterest, or you Googled it, there are free coloring pages. You don't even have to put out any money.
Right.
The two artists that I'm talking about, I haven't spoken about the second one yet, but they both advocate using very affordable supplies. Right now in the US, it's back to school time.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. I got 50 Crayola markers. They're bullet, I think they're called, I forgot the name. They're at Mom's house, otherwise I'd show you. But I got them for Mom. There were 50 colors, different colors, and it was $6.99, I believe, for 50 colors. And you could have gotten, for $3, 10 colors if you really want to be on a budget.
Wow.
And they have a thin tip if you hold them straight up, and if you angle them, they were broad. And I colored in my mom's coloring books with them, and they're beautiful. And that's what Dee Dee suggests, that you go and don't get into fancy markers. Just start with something easy, because then you can find out if you like it.
Right.
So I would recommend, if you're a knitter and you want to play around with color and get an idea of what you like, I think it's a great way to start. I colored some pages. I looked at and I go, holy moly, that is not good. The colored palette I chose, I did not like. Other ones I loved. And so I think it would be really good if you're looking to develop your color sense for your knitting, that you would think about trying something like this, because for a very small investment, and you might discover a new hobby you enjoy.
And I like the idea that you don't have to have the best. It's like, with knitting, there are very few people that start knitting with cashmere.
Exactly.
I mean, you don't need the Prismacolor colored pencil, 72 color set in order to start coloring. I mean, we have the Crayola Twistables.
And I love those.
Yes.
I've used those at Mom's. I just think they're wonderful.
Yes.
I actually prefer the Crayola Twistables than I do to the less expensive colored pencils.
Do you really?
I do. I just think that they blend better.
Yeah.
The second artist I wanted to mention to you is a YouTube person. She's got lots of great instructional videos. And hers probably run about 30 minutes, so if you didn't want to invest in Dee Dee Wellingham, though I know you'll love her. This is Christy Sobolewski, or Sobolewski. And she is also known as Gulf Sprite, and she is a self-taught artist, but she sells her work. She is, a successful artist. She does a lot on art journaling.
Yeah.
And so she's really an advocate for just making art part of your everyday life. And she has a brilliant series on, I think it's called, what did I say, Marker Mayhem? Can you check that for me, Bree?
Yes, Marker Mayhem classes.
Marker Mayhem, M-E-W-H-M-E-Y-H-E-M. Marker Mayhem. That is a series on how to use different kinds of markers. So you have your permanent markers like Sharpies. You have water-based markers that can be used kind of like watercolors, where you add water and they'll blend a little bit, and the color will move.
Sure.
There's all different kinds of markers. I'm not going to try and remember all that they are, but what she does is, in a class of 30 minutes or less usually, she will go through all the ways that you can use those markers artistically. Okay, so maybe you've got Sharpies hanging around that you're just using to mark boxes or whatever. You can use what you have, and she's a big advocate of that. Mixed products, and she shows you how to do that. You can follow, she's got tons of videos, so if you're interested in it, she's a good one, because she has a lot of resources on how to use them. But what I took away from one of her classes on Marker Mayhem, because I had my Tombow markers that I've been collecting, and I have some distress markers. I didn't bring them over today.
The Tim Holtz ones?
Yes, Tim Holtz distress markers. And the Tombow ones I like the best because they're so juicy. They've stayed good for a long time. I've had trouble with some of my Tim Holtz ones are a little drier for me.
Oh, really?
And so, but start with the Crayolas.
Yeah.
And what she was doing was she was putting down a layer of matte medium. Matte medium is a clear product that creates a barrier on your paper and allows things to slide. But matte means it's not glossy, obviously. All I had was gloss medium. So my first project I used what I had because she said to do that. I used my gloss medium. But I wanted to make it even easier for you guys to try it. So I had some white acrylic paint. Now you think about it, acrylic paint, I think you can get under $1, you can get a little bottle of acrylic paint. Okay, so that's a very inexpensive thing if you don't already have white acrylic paint. And what I did was I put a layer of that on my paper. Okay, the first thing I did, I'm going to show you, this is the first one I did. Now, this is my Bible study journal. Obviously, I get other notes and things in it. But what I did was I like to write out scripture because it helps me focus on my Bible study time, and also sometimes I pick up things writing that I don't normally pick up when I'm just reading through it. So I was writing out, you can see the leftovers of it, Psalms 91 underneath in a permanent pen that doesn't run. I wrote it all out and I got so much out of it. It was very good. But like, do I need a whole journal full of just me writing out scripture?
No, not necessarily.
I guess that's part of like, I mean, what would I do with it afterwards? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I decided, I've been doing that, but I've been thinking, you know, it's kind of like a waste. Would I just throw it away afterwards? You know?
Yeah.
Really. So what I did was I left the journaling underneath, and because mixed media artists do a lot of layering. And so I thought, well, we'll just layer my own writing underneath. And I put my white paint on top of it, and it's a little bit, it's so thin that you can read some of the words through it, but not a lot. I'll go one more time. Okay, and then I used my markers, and I got paint on my fingernails even to prove I've been doing this. And I started drawing. I would lay some color down, and I would just use my finger and I'd smudge it, and used it like paint. And so I love the effect. Markers as they are, just drawing with them, the look I get, I don't like as much for me. I mean, just, you know, it's not like it's a bad thing to do. It's wonderful. There's people who are amazing at it.
Right.
But I like the smudgy look. So I'm so excited now because, and I went ahead and put a scripture next to it. For this owl, I did, let's see, did I write down the verse? I'll have to look up the reference, but it's on wisdom. And for the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding. Okay, and so there's more to it. I won't read the whole thing, but now I've got this image. I've had the experience of writing down the passage, and I've got something to remember it by. And to me, it just, when I look at this, it brings joy to my heart, and it brings back that experience of, I want to do that again.
Right.
And isn't it when you're trying to be disciplined? I'm a runner now. But when you're trying to be disciplined in your life and study, anything that makes it come at you from different ways, and I think we discussed this in the first.
We did, yeah.
In the first one. Studying spelling words.
Yeah.
When you were little, did your teacher have you try your spelling words different ways, or were they not doing that for you at that time?
Not for me, but you know, for me it was, you know, write this word out, you know, 5 times or however many times. But for my kids, especially when we moved to this school district, Owen and Ailish have both had the experience of having teachers who gave you a list of different ways that you can, you know, use your spelling words. You can draw a picture about them, you can write a story about them, you can, you know, just define them, but you had to pick out from, you know, the 20 things, you know, 3 to 5 different ways of using your spelling words creatively. And that really cements it in your head, I think.
It does, and we all learn different ways, and so I think it's good for all of us to just try different ways of getting information into us. And for me, this was so fun, and I highly recommend it. I have 2 more that I did in the same method where I was writing scripture underneath. Whoops, let's get this way. This bird over here and this rooster. And so underneath is the scripture that I was studying that day. And then when I did the bird, I used the scripture from Matthew that says, look at the birds, free and unfettered, not tied down to a job description. It's from the Message, of course.
Yeah.
Careless in the care of God.
Yeah.
That was what really struck me. Careless in the care of God. That's how he wants us to be.
Right.
Careless about the things of this world because we know we're in his care. You don't see worried birds.
Not usually.
No. So anyway, so I went ahead and put that scripture there, wrote it, journaled it on so I would remember. And then I did the same thing on the other page with the rooster. And on that one, I did the scripture that says, I'm sorry to tell you this, Peter, this is Jesus speaking, but before the rooster crows, you will have 3 times denied you know me. And that really spoke to me. I mean, it's like that's a really sad scripture to put in your journal, right?
It's not really, one of my favorites or anything. Yeah.
But it reminded me how much our good intentions sometimes are not enough. We think we've got, I am going to walk every day.
Twice a day, not just
right?
once.
Our commitments are as firm as Jell-O sometimes.
Right.
And sometimes our good intentions are not enough, that we have to realize that we need the Lord's help every day.
Oh, yeah.
And that on our own, we really don't have the ability to keep much in the way of our resolutions. But with God's help,
yes,
all things are possible, right?
That's right.
So I just love the idea of doing this in my journal. I've done a bit of it in my this is my Bible study journal, but I've done a little bit in my big journal. I'm going to put all the pictures at the end so you guys can see them if you're interested. But this is to remind me that I found a new app that I wanted to pass along. The app is Sketchy, SKTCHY.
No E.
No E. I said no vowels originally, and you corrected me, didn't you?
I did, because Y is sometimes a vowel too.
Yeah.
Don't forget the lonely Y.
This is what Sketchy is an app where people submit pictures that they intend for you to draw.
That's great.
We all have problems with the copyright thing. If you're an artist and you're wanting something to draw from, you can't just draw anything without permission, technically speaking. So these people put on, that's a watercolor I did. These people put on photos that they intend for you to draw. Then you upload your picture and link it to it, and it comes up. It is very much like Instagram for artists, and Instagram is used by artists too.
Right.
But you can see the original when you put your finger on the picture that comes up that someone's uploaded, the art. You move your finger and it will slide to the side and you can see the original they were working from.
Oh.
It's so inspiring.
How neat.
And I did this girl with an owl. I didn't color the owl. He's actually collaged on there. I cut him out and glued him on and then added to the artwork on him. But I was so excited because one of the first ones I had done was this guy. Whoops, right here. This guy. And he had this face on and it was cracking me up, and I thought, I wonder what he was like as a kid. And so I did this, let me see if I can get the right page. Here we go. I added the collage work of this kid driving a cart pulled by turkeys. How hilarious is that? And that's a little boy fishing, looking very precocious. And so I was so excited because it got featured by the editors or the people who run Sketchy.
Yeah.
Picked it out of all of the art that had been presented during that time period to be on their Sketchy features.
Congratulations.
Oh, it was like, I don't call myself an artist. I barely call myself a knitter. But it was so affirming to have somebody say, that was really interesting what you did.
Yeah.
So my book is full of fun things. Yeah, but it was just, it's really when you get your support services together, this sounds like it's a social work thing, doesn't it?
It does.
But like you're trying something new. Think about it as knitters. We have Ravelry, right? And we have maybe your local knitting store, and you've got the internet to get, and you've got knitting videos.
Right.
You know, these resources come together, and knitting has grown into a larger than life thing because of these resources. Would you agree?
Absolutely, yes.
You get inspired by something you see, and it takes you a new direction. I think I have grown more as a knitter because of the internet support that's there.
Absolutely.
Because it awakened me to what was possible in knitting, right?
Oh, yeah.
Same goes for weaving and, of course, in the artistic world. And to find people saying that you can start with something as simple as a color book and a Crayola marker and some YouTube videos.
Right.
That you could get to a point where you could have art that you're feeling happy about.
Yes.
Now, I'm not crazy. I know I am not like, you know, Michelangelo or Van Gogh.
Right.
I'm not even as good as the artists that actually are really artists that are posting there. But, you know, I felt like it was good. It was a good exercise to say, but that's okay. They're great.
Right.
But I'm doing good for me.
Absolutely.
And it stores your little collection of pictures that you upload under your profile. And so I thought, how fun. I'll have a visual record of how my drawing has progressed.
Yes.
You know, how I've come. It doesn't have any of my original stuff, so it won't show everything. But,
right.
And that's kind of what Ravelry does for you too, right?
It does. Yes.
Isn't that fun to see? Oh my goodness, where before I remember how challenged I was making this scarf, this garter stitch scarf.
Right.
And now I'm doing cables or whatever it is.
Yes.
So I would, whatever it is that you're passionate about in life, or if you're looking for a new passion, I would just encourage you. I think the easiest way to start is YouTube videos. I really do. I think look up the subject you're interested in and see what pops up. And, you know, I usually gorge on them. Not a shock for you, right? Sometimes I feel like I can do it. I mean, like I had watched so many Inkle Loom videos before I actually got my Inkle Loom that I felt like I should start with the real complicated stuff.
Yeah, how'd that work out?
No.
Not so much?
My brain on... you know, it's like lace knitting.
Yeah.
I picked the lace knitting of Inkle Looming, and
no.
I'm like, you know, maybe I need to start with like, how do I get the string on here first? So it was very helpful. I mean, I knew a lot to begin with, and I knew some of the terms and things. So I mean, I was ahead of the game. But there's no replacement for actual experience with needles in your hand. Let's say.
Right.
You can't say I'm an imaginary knitter and I do.
That's right. Yeah. I think, you know, with spinning, I had seen you spin so much, and I had, you know, watched videos and, you know, podcasts.
Did you feel like you knew it? That was a fly that just went in your mouth. Sorry. I was like slow motion in my head going, no.
Tell me it did not go in. It was just like landed on.
It was a gnat. I'm sure it's protein. It wasn't a full-fledged fly.
I'm so glad we caught that on camera.
I know. You might as well swallow now.
I need some water. Anyways, I thought that once I actually sat behind a spinning wheel...
Wait, this episode could be all catching flies.
Catching flies, yes. Watch Brianne do it. We can do it in slow motion. Oh gosh, instant replays.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Go ahead.
So, I thought, you know, that I was going to be like the prodigy of spinning. You know, when I sat behind my wheel, I was like, you know, and then I'm like, why doesn't this thing work?
It's really fast. It's really fast. Slow down.
That's right. And then it was too slow, and then everything kept breaking, and I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And, you know, you're right. I mean, there are very few people that, you know, can sit down and do something perfectly the first time.
No matter how many YouTube videos they watch.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. Okay. What is that? Everything that you've finished and have worked on?
I just have my Gilding the Lilies.
Okay.
So,
well, I have a couple things that I've finished. The first thing I want to show you is I finished up the Spun Right Round yarn that I have been spinning on for a while. Yay!
So pretty. Ooh, that would go with your sweater you're wearing, or your shirt today.
It really would. This is 8 ounces of BFL from Spun Right Round, And it is the beach colorway. And Mom, can I get you to
so gorgeous.
Show that off?
Yes, of course. I'm going to undo it then.
Yeah. It turned up to be 370 yards, and which is like a heavy worsted, Aran weight, probably somewhere in there. And I love how it turned out. I did chain ply it. It is gorgeous. So that I could keep the colors together. And you can see better now. Before, the last time I showed you, it was still on the bobbin and I hadn't plied anything. So you couldn't really see that beautiful sandy gray color, which represents the sand. And then you have that golden yellow color for the sun and the blue for the water. And I love it. I'm so happy with it. And I don't know what I'm going to make with it.
Very pretty, Brianne.
Thank you. But it turned out really well.
Yes. And I think we commented last time, and you can really see it in this one, that Navajo plying or chain plying really makes a nice rounded yarn.
It does. And look, I mean, it
hangs nice.
It does hang so nice.
Yes.
The last time I did a chain ply, I had way too much twist to it.
Easy to have happen.
And this time I slowed down and I just said, okay, I need to be right here doing this right now. I don't need to be thinking about laundry that needs to be done.
Yeah.
Because Lord knows there's always laundry.
Always laundry.
Yes. I don't need to be thinking about my menu planning for the week or, anything else. I just need to be right here. So I was plying it while Brian was home.
Okay.
So that I could, kind of be more present. And that's something that I've been working on in general, is just trying to be more present in the moment and not, being 10 steps ahead of where I am currently, thinking about everything that needs to happen ever. Because that's a really good way to stress yourself out.
I noticed when I was driving with my husband this weekend, he had some time off, and I was so thankful because we haven't had a lot of that. He's in real estate, so you work when people need you to work. And so what I noticed, though, is that he has gotten in the habit of driving so fast and stopping really quickly, and like he's always in a hurry.
Yes.
And I think that's just because he's busy, and so he's trying to get as many things done as he can. But I thought, what does that do to the inside of you to live that, wound up, that you're like always in a race?
Yes.
And so it's like a good reminder to us to, release the tension on our needles. Like, don't grip your needles like they're going to fly out of your hand if you don't hold on to them tight. And like you're saying, to be present in what the activity you're doing and not everything has to be multitasked.
Right. Right. And I think for me, I struggle with anxiety and it was creating a lot of anxiety. It's your turn now.
Cats
coming
and flies.
That's right. It was causing more anxiety, even though I thought, I'm taking care of this, I'm being efficient. I'm, being, a good person, a good caretaker of my home by thinking of everything, in right now. It really was causing just a lot of anxiety and discord because I wasn't being present with my kids, playing with my kids or, being there with my husband and talking to him when he was, there and available to me.
Right.
There's just, take some time and just be there, just be there. And you can see what it did for my spinning, let alone, everything else, my spinning was so much more relaxed and, it wasn't all twisted and tangled up. And it kind of, was a reflection of, what it was doing on the inside of me.
That's true. Good point.
So anyways.
If your gauge square is too tight, maybe you're a little too uptight.
Yeah, that's right. What does it say if you're a loose knitter?
Well, we don't go there.
Yeah. So anyways, the other thing that I finished is I finished my Pure Joy shawl, and I'm going to take it off so that I can show it off. And this thing turned out so beautifully, and I'm going to start right here because this is the beginning part, and then it just goes and goes and goes. It blocks out so long, and I didn't like block it.
You didn't stretch it out?
I didn't stretch it out. All I did was I let it hang by its own weight. and let it just kind of, you know, relax into whatever it wanted to be.
That is a very useful length, isn't it?
It is, yes.
So it can do many things for you.
Right.
Am I inside out again?
Yes.
I think I did. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Let's try again.
The main color is Knit 1 Crochet 2 Crocodile in the amber colorway, and
Bring it closer.
yes, and the contrast color, the second color is Kim Dye's yarn in her Chala sock, and that's the Credna Dune colorway, which is an Outlander inspired color, I believe.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Up close you can see how lovely the blue flecks and the what did you call it, like a
Rose.
rosy? Very pretty.
And so I really, it's so beautiful, and I love the way it turned out, and it just makes me so happy. I can't wait to wear this. I think because of the different flecks of colors, I'll be able to wear it with a lot of different, a variety of shirts, and not just, you know, brown or white or cream, or, you know, I'll have more choices.
Some of us do our like scarf knitting in the accent color, and so to have it in a neutral, then that opens up more clothing opportunities as far as shirts to pair it with and things. So I think that's a wise idea.
And this is Pure Joy by Hohi Locatelli.
Okay.
And she has so many amazing patterns out right now. If you have not seen her work, then you should go and take a look.
Okay.
Yes.
I do love her stuff.
Yes. So let's talk about Gilding the Lily.
Yes.
I have nothing, so please feel free.
Well, my favorite, well, actually we share a Gilding the Lily. Right?
We do. Oh, yes. Well, but
so let's not forget that.
Yes, no, I have it right here.
Well, I'm not going to share this because this is from apparently everything except my underwear right now is from the Rusted Stitch, and I love this. She has moved.
Yes.
And she found time. You can see I've been using it. It's got little strings from projects I've been working on. But she has moved, and she somehow, in the midst of all that, found time to make me a journal cover for my new art journal. And, you know, as you know, I did ask her to make me one in the gray, and that one's smaller. And what I found was I wanted to start using watercolor paper. You can see how I've just loaded this baby full.
That, I mean, I don't think you could fit.
Oh, I could fit more. But I've loaded it full, and I used watercolor paper. When I made my new journal, I finished my old journal, and I made a new one. And I asked her if this time she would put a pocket for me so I could put my fountain pens and my watercolor brushes, which are these, and some things in the pocket, which I love. Not having to search, I can take this and my markers, let's say, and have a portable art studio with me. Love that. My new journal, and for most of you know that when I'm doing my journaling, I'm sewing the different signatures together. And what that does is allows the pages to open nice and flat. You don't have like the spiral bound or the rings or anything getting in your way. You can actually do art across a page if you wanted to. This is showing one of the bands that holds it in. This is the Midori style. I'm calling it my sweater dory. I think that's what she might be calling it, but what it allows you to do is to insert books, and you can keep the same cover. You just insert whatever you want to into there. And so I could load it up with probably 10 or 15 smaller books, but I put a ginormous book in it this time. And the watercolor paper was bigger. That's the paper I used here. I added, this is paper that I tea stained, and then I decorated and put lines on it for journaling. I put some dictionary pages in.
Oh, fun.
And so depending on what I feel like doing, I can pick I even put some copy paper in there just for when I want to do kind of doodling stuff and not feel the pressure of I'm going to create art.
I must make a masterpiece.
Right. But this was the paper that I used as the guideline for the Midori style sweater dory that I had her make for me, and I'm loving being able to use the watercolor paper. It's a whole new experience.
Yeah.
Regular paper kind of it takes the color differently. And so it's a whole different experience using paper that was made for water. Go think.
Huh.
Paper made for watercolor works better.
It works better. Who would have thought?
What a shock. So I would like to encourage all of you that if you think this is something you would like, be sure you contact Stephanie.
Yes.
She made this to my specification. She was very sweet about it. And, you know, give her time. You know, she's got to unpack, unless she's already unpacked. She packed in a week.
She did.
What?
Which, I mean, that's like a superpower, I'm pretty sure.
It is a superpower.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know how much time it would take her, but she is taking custom orders. So make sure you ask. And I felt very affordable, and it feels, I mean, just feel it.
It's luxurious and comforting, and yes.
At night is when I love curling up in
You
bed.
could use that
we
as a
watch
pillow.
TV. We could, if you were traveling, emergency pillow.
Oh,
Yeah.
so many things this thing does.
Right. So I love it, and make sure you contact her
Yes.
if you think you would like one too.
Yes.
And we were gifted something.
We were, which is our pattern highlight too. So we were gifted by the beautiful Jennifer Lassonde the Riley Rose shawl.
And this is Boston Jen if you're on Instagram.
Yes.
She's my BFF on Instagram. Pretty
Is she
sure.
really? Wow.
She doesn't know it, but
Well, you know, that's okay. And let's see. I think we decided that we liked this
yes.
one.
Now, what I love about this shawl is it also looks like a very cozy one. But the thing that is so attractive to me is that, here, I'll stand up since I'm already poised for it. The thing that's so attractive to me is the fact that you will never get bored on this one too, because you can see, actually, I'm getting glare from that light. You can see that there are panels, stripes, of color changes, but also texture changes.
That's right.
Bree, what do you think?
I love it.
Yeah.
I think you'll never get bored knitting on this shawl because, like you said, you know, as soon as you get going with one thing, then you're going to change colors, or you're going to change textures, or suddenly, oh my goodness, there's some stripes coming up.
Yep.
So there's really so much going on. I think it'll be really fun.
And if you can see from where it's hitting her that is actually one that you could wear as a wrap, or you could do it as a scarf too. And it's nice to be flexible, because sometimes maybe you're wearing it for a wrap for a while,
Right.
and then you want your hands more free, and to be able to wear it as a scarf, always a plus.
Yes. This shawl is $6 for a download on Ravelry. We have also been gifted a pattern to give away to a viewer, and so what we're going to
this is where we shout prizes, prizes, prizes.
That's right. So we're super excited.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jen.
That was very
You're
sweet of you.
so generous to us. And what we're going to do is I'm going to open up a thread on the Ravelry group and called the Riley Rose Shawl. And what I want for you to do is I want for you to go there and tell me what colors you would use to knit your shawl. Would you use neutral colors? Would you use, you know, blues like the ocean? Would you use bright colors that remind you of something else? I don't know. Tell me what colors would you use for that?
Can I add something to it?
Please do.
They could certainly just tell us, but if you have a picture that's an inspiration,
yes.
have you seen Design Seeds that's on Instagram and different places where they take a picture and they pick the colors or select colors from the picture and create a color palette?
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have a picture that you'd like to use as inspiration for one, wouldn't that be fun?
Yes, just put that in your same entry. You get one entry per person, and you have to be a member of the group to win. We'll be pulling by random number generator, and the contest is going to be ending on Thursday, August 18th, which is after the kids go back to school. So we'll be recording sometime after that. So
Friday when Evan came down, turned the lights off on our podcast.
Little stinker.
That guy.
Little scamp. He got a little scolding from Grandma D.
I should have saved that one.
Yeah.
Yes. And he went upstairs.
Yeah, he did not come back down. So we have that.
Yeah.
Which I'm very excited about.
We do.
Yes.
Also, I am very excited about the next 2 items that are coming up.
Yes. Let's talk about our inspirational quote contest, because that just wrapped up. Actually, today I just closed.
Let's do it.
I closed it. Can you get out the random number generator?
I can.
I almost forgot that I finished that. I closed that up for us. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No problem. It's high tech here. We use computery things.
Oh, yes. So it'll be between 2 and 42.
I gotta read through those. I bet there's some good ones in there.
They're really good.
All right, are you ready?
Yes. Number 30. No.
Who is it?
That is SHL Knitter, who is my friend Michelle.
Is it?
Who I go to lunch with.
No way.
Seriously, did you show that up there?
Oh, see, now she just rigged this, didn't she? How funny.
Oh, Michelle.
Nope, that's what it says.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
How
So
fun.
Michelle wins, and she said the first one that she did was the first and fourth verses of Be Thou My Vision, which is a hymn that I just love.
It is a neat hymn.
That's one that I sang to my kids when they were babies. But then she has another one, her second entry says, and with a less religious tone, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And that's by Henry Ford. And then this one says, Pain is inevitable, suffering is optional, by Haruki Murakami.
Ooh.
And then this one is Attitude is Everything. I don't have a source for this one, but I find it applies all the time. So those are so good.
Very good. Well,
All
I'm gonna
right.
have fun going through those.
Yes. So, Michelle, email me.
Yeah.
We'll just do it that way.
So we've had that's prize number 2. That's a current thing.
Yes.
That one's just closing up.
Yes.
And then I decided that I wanted to do a random act of kindness from time to time.
Yes.
And I contacted my super great friend and sister type person, Tabitha, from Tabitha's Heart, and asked her if she would be willing to donate a pattern. And she was gracious and donated us a coupon code, which is like cash in your cart for her store.
Yes.
And anybody who had commented on the last podcast, which was Brianne's brilliant podcast, I'm sure it is.
Episode 58.
Yes. And we took the people that commented there and we did random number generator. You have to just trust us, we're honest people.
That's right.
And that person is going to get cash for a pattern in Tabitha's store. Now here is my big, can you find the pattern that I wanted to show them as a feature? Tabitha has done patterns that's anything from a beautiful washcloth with a pattern on it. She has spa, they call them spa cloths. She's got socks. Her sock pattern was that I knit was Arwen. It was my very first successful sock knit.
Right.
And it makes a great house sock, or obviously you can wear them out too. But if I was at that time looking for a sock I can wear around the house, because that's where I use them the most, and I love it, so I made it out of a little bit thicker yarn.
Right.
Love, love, love it. She's done beautiful scarves, wraps.
Yes.
I've done her Arwen wrap. It's gorgeous. And so I highly recommend Tabitha. She is a tech editor, and so her patterns are so well written.
Yes.
And she is also one of the moderators at the I'm going to forget the name of the group, Star Trek. It's like the Harry Potter group that does the challenges, but it's for Star Trek lovers. So it's so fun. I did do that once or twice myself, actually. And this particular pattern is one of her newest ones. I adore it. This is her beautiful daughter, Dragon Pearls. I'm going to say that's her Ravelry name. And it's done with a gradient kit from the 100th sheep, which is Peggy. And you can see it's done in all these lovely purples. And what I like to think of is daisies that are in the lace work of it. Isn't it gorgeous?
It is so pretty.
And you can see this one too can be up around your neck like a scarf, but look at how well it hangs. This is not like any magic that's making it hang so nicely. It actually is designed to hang so well because Tabitha knows we want to knit knits that we will wear.
Yes.
Right?
And this is the Spring Fancies.
I should have said that. Spring
Yes.
Fancies. So I highly recommend if you're a knitter of wraps and things like that, that might be a fun one to start with.
That's right.
So who was the winner?
Apparently the random number generator picked Crazy Crafter 87, who is Amber.
Yay!
Crazy
Crafter 87.
So I want you to contact me by private message on Ravelry, and I will give you the code for the $5 coupon for Tabitha's shop.
Yes.
Yay!
Are we done with prizes yet?
We are done with prizes.
Are we?
Oh, no. No, wait, hold on.
Right? Don't we have something else?
No, but I wanted to show, this is what Michelle won. I almost forgot to show.
Okay.
She won the 880 yards of the Cascade Ultra Pima
No way.
cotton. So this is beautiful.
Gorgeous. And who is that a gift? Who is that from?
This is from, oh, you put me on the spot. Lana, my friend.
Was that from Lana? Oh, she's our neighbor in Springfield, right?
Yes. And so she gave these to me and a couple of other things.
Oh my goodness.
So,
Sweet
yes.
person, Lana.
Yes,
We'll have to
we love
credit
her.
her for that.
Yes.
And do we have, so the ongoing contest, remind me again, we are doing,
Is the Riley Rose shawl right now.
and that will be what colors you'd like to do it in.
Yes. What
Okay.
colors would you like to knit that shawl in? And that will be on the thread.
Okay.
So just, look on the Ravelry boards for our podcast, and it'll be a thread in the group that you can answer to.
And for the record, Random Act of Kindness is going to be random.
Right.
Because that's what Random Act of Kindness is. And I would say for the most part, we're going to pull from Ravelry, the Ravelry thread for the latest episode, whatever that is. You won't know what episode that is.
Right.
But I'm also going to include, sometimes I'm going to pull from YouTube comments because
Okay.
we also broadcast on YouTube.
Yes, we do.
I don't want those people to feel left out.
No, that would be sad.
Right.
Yes.
And they can find all of this fabulous information on knitworthypodcast.com.
That's right. Last thing we have for you today is a very exciting collaboration. I can't talk anymore. Apparently I've hit the limit. I've hit the wall.
Once you've recorded a podcast, there's no recording it again.
That's right.
Right? Not without stammering and
That's
stuttering.
right.
Are we not totally excited about this?
I am super thrilled that
Don't
we
tell
are.
them. Let's just keep it to ourselves.
Yeah, that's it. Goodbye.
No.
We are collaborating with Lisa, who is Life Full of Laugh on Ravelry, to do a mini skein swapless swap with yarn from the Copper Corgi.
Okay.
Tell us about the mini skein swapless
Yes.
swap. Can you explain that to us?
I would be happy to. And I was so excited when she contacted us. Basically, I learned about this from Facebook, where, as far as I know, it originated. And the idea is so many people were doing these sampler types of projects like the mitered square blanket, the beekeeper quilt
Right.
project. Lots of these kind of where you're using a sampler of yarns, trying to use up your stash, but then of course we always need to make it bigger than what our stash is, and
Right.
some people wanted more variety. And so the idea was originally you could swap your yarn with someone else and go, okay, well, I'll share leftover bits with you. Well, I don't want to share. What a shock. So she put together, and my first one that I did, and I actually it's probably the only one I did because I'm too absent-minded to keep signing up, is a swapless swap, which means you put in a certain amount of money, and in this case, how much is it going to be?
It is going to be $30 for U.S. residents, $35 for Canadian residents, and $40 for pretty much other countries internationally.
So we're talking US dollars, so 30, 35, or 40, depending on where you live. And what you will get are 10 different skeins
Yes.
of
40
yards each.
Right.
Okay, next time I think what we'll measure out 40 yards so they can visualize it.
Yes.
What I got from her when I got mine, loved it. It's a great way, for one thing, to try a new dyer. and to sample their bases. And so it's really fun that way. And I encourage you, even if you decide you don't want to be part of our swap, which why wouldn't you?
You should.
Really. But you can also join her group, and we'll put a link for that, because they do all sorts of fun things. She's really super good. I mean, you send her a message and she
is on the ball.
She is organized. So this is not something that's new. It's been going on. I did mine last summer.
Right.
And everything happened exactly as she said it would happen. It's not like these swaps where you never see anything come through. And I got beautifully packaged mini skeins that were all wound up, about that big, and a beautiful assortment. And
they're all labeled.
Yeah, I've used all mine.
Have you?
Yeah. Oh. I was thinking I should have one to show, but they are, yes, they are labeled with the color and the dyer name so that you remember later what it is you have. And it's a fun way. You can use them for so many different things, right? We talked, she's been making sampler socks where she puts together her minis and she makes her own striping pattern, which I think is a fun idea.
Brilliant.
Of course, I'm working on mitered square. I'll be working on that for probably eternity. I'll be in heaven finishing up my last row. But such a fun way to use it. But Brianne, I had challenged you before, and I don't know if you still want to do it, but we had talked about trying to find patterns that would lend themselves to, like, the first one that comes to mind is, okay, and this is a game. The woman who plays the, what's it called?
Saxophone?
No, it's got billows. Bagpipes.
Yes, you're all screaming it at us.
Are you? Yeah.
Paula Emmons Feasley?
Yes. Okay, and she has her magic cake.
Yes.
Shawl.
Yes.
Which everyone was doing. Have you made one?
I have not.
Yeah. And so I would think that this would be fun to put in a magic cake shawl.
Yes.
And you could even add your own leftovers to it, or you could pick a complimentary neutral and have your little skeins be striped in it, or just as a accent band.
Right.
But I would like you to look for possibilities for using these. The other thing that comes to mind, I'm just going to give you all my ideas right now.
Yeah, that's great.
The bird of happiness, the blue bird of happiness pattern, those are perfect for these little skeins.
Yes.
And they make a wonderful gift or a tie-on for a gift. And people have filled them with lavender, or they've made them into ornaments, or what are little tuck-ins for your purse, kind of like for just a love, like, don't forget I love you.
Yeah.
I'm wishing happy things for you.
Right.
So we'll have more ideas on what you can use these for.
Yes. Let's see. There are 17 spots still available, and all you do is you are going to send the money to Lisa via PayPal, and there's a link there. You can either you can click on the link, or you can use your app and do it that way. I always send it on my app. But you need to include your Ravelry name and the swap you're paying for in the notes section. And then there's a Google document that will give her your contact information so she actually knows where to send them to. That's always helpful. And she's going to order the yarn. They ship it to her. She makes all the minis, and then she ships out these beautiful things. The money is due September 15th.
Okay, and when do we get them?
They will be in the mail by October 15th.
Okay.
So this is great if you like making Christmas ornaments, if you like, making little toys, if you like making doll clothes. These are all great things that you can use these minis for.
And it's coming during the season when we love knitting. Don't we love it when it starts getting, for at least in the U.S. That's the time of year when it's knitting time.
Get a pumpkin flavored drink in your hand.
Pumpkin drink.
Yeah. That's right. And you will be set. And I wanted Mom to show what this is. A sample of the Copper Corgis colorways.
And Brianne, would you also tell them why we are using this dyer?
We are using this dyer because we requested a dyer that would do bold, saturated colors, and we think that the Copper Corgi has some beautiful things. As you can see on the screen, she has an Etsy shop, which is just Etsy and you can find her as the Copper Corgi, and you can look and see what kind of colorway she has. But as I said, we requested bold, saturated colors
Yes.
to include in our beautiful projects. So that is that. If you have any questions, we have temporarily made Lisa a moderator in our
She can
group.
stay on as moderator as far as I'm concerned.
She's on top of things, so
she
we
can
might
take
just
over
keep
my
her.
whole life.
Oh,
I mean,
gosh.
she's amazing.
So if you would like to ask her any questions, you can go onto the Ravelry board and ask her questions there. I think this is a really wonderful way of trying out a dyer that
Oh,
you've
my
never
goodness.
tried before,
Sure.
and be able to get a lot of different colors. And I think it's just really excellent. So I'm super excited about this.
Yes, and I have actually had her items in my cart before. Probably doesn't surprise you.
No, not at all. The woman with 99 things in her cart.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. They max out at 99, by the way. She found that out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Little
That's
tips you learn from me.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Such fun. So
Yes.
really, I think it's so fun to have hopeful things on the horizon,
Yes.
right? It's fun to have things to look forward to, things that are happening now.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of ways to earn prizes.
That's right.
That's always fun,
Always.
right?
Yes.
And just thanks for coming and hanging out with us.
We love having the ability to chat with you guys and to have fun and just to spend time with each other and with you. So
It's a great escape for us too, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to have our own little world where we're just going to have fun, right?
Yes.
We're going to enjoy everything. All
That's
the
right.
things. We enjoy them right here with you.
That's right. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you in a few weeks. But until then, we want you to remember that you are knitworthy. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
No more flies. No more. All right.
That was crazy, wasn't it?
That was, oh my word.
How did we get number? Let's see. I unbroke my sweat and the talking started up again.
Unbreak my sweat.